power in people's homes, which is not something that folks necessarily would think of or could afford without that boost. Using some of the money, spent for snacks or in-office perks on some of those ways to make people's lifestyles more environmentally friendly at home. And then one of the big ones is also cutting down on flights. So, if you're going to go fully remote, obviously in-person FaceTime is important, but maybe cut that down to 1 or 2 meetings a year instead of 5 meetings a year.
Sarah Holder, really, really fascinating reporting. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
The Biden administration is opening 2 more facilities to accommodate the number of unaccompanied minors arriving at the southern border. Many of the migrants are from Central America, and several hurricanes have hit the region in the last year, and that has forced people to leave their homes. And Bojorquez is in Guatemala with more.
When we were at the U.S.-Mexico border reporting from Juarez 2 weeks ago, we noticed something. Most of the migrants we spoke with were from Guatemala. Now that we are here, we're getting to see firsthand the effects of natural disasters that some people say have left them with no option but to head north.
Life is trickling back into Cancun, a town in the Guatemalan highlands that was devastated by floods last fall. That includes the school that was underwater for 2 months. Students are slowly coming back. And we were invited into one classroom.
Raise your hand if you wanted to, all of you would like to go to the United States. ¿Por qué razón? Where would you like to go?
Por motivos económicos.
The economy, work, jobs, trabajo.
12-year-old Edith Belinda is one of them.
Sí.
So the flood devastated your family's livelihood.
Beverly Alvarado Gawek wants to stay here, but she doesn't have hope Guatemala's government will do more.
Aquí en Guatemala no hay futuro.
In Guatemala, there's no future here, she says. People just want to go and create better conditions for their children.
In the last few weeks, how many people have left that you know of?
Yes.
How many?
Now 6 people. Sí.
Beverly lost her home in the floods.
Pues ellas que trabajo en la escuela.
Oh, that's it.
Her son's artwork, one of the few things the water didn't take.
De atletismo. Como madre.
As a mom, she says, I'm hopeful that one day my son will be a professional. It's estimated more than 300,000 Guatemalans were displaced by the back-to-back hurricanes that caused the flooding, which also ruined crops. The hit to agriculture took away how most here earn a living. This is what's left of Aurora Chungcook's home in Cancun. She is saying goodbye to friends and family for what could be the last time.
Soy madre soltera.
You're a single mother, 3 boys,
Sí.
trying to raise the money.
She hopes to find work and send money home for her 3 boys, the youngest aged 2. That means leaving them behind. I don't know if I'll be able to come back one day and hug them again. Only God knows, she says.
¿Qué piensas? Está difícil, ¿no?
No quiere hablar, he doesn't have the words.
Aurora told us she understands the border is closed and that it's a dangerous journey, one that she has heard can take up to a month, but she's willing to take her chances, trying to get to Houston, nearly 1,600 miles away. Vlad?
Absolutely heartbreaking reporting, Manny. Thank you so much. Gonzaga's unbeaten run ends with a shocker, and Baylor goes on to make men's college basketball history. We'll tell you how things fell apart for the Bulldogs at the NCAA championship game last night, and how the victorious Bears are reacting to their first national title. Plus, we're hearing horrifying stories from survivors in Mozambique after last month's deadly siege by terrorists linked to ISIS. One man tells us how he barely made it out alive after getting pinned down with his own father and his brother. You're streaming CBSN, CBS News, always on.
Is this stuff for your hands or your dishes? Both.
It's in your nature to reach for more. It's in our nature to make it cost less.
Please torture them as much as
someone who takes care of
possible.
yourself. So why wait to screen for colon cancer? Because when caught in early stages, it's more treatable. I'm Cologuard. I'm non-invasive and detect altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers, even in early stages.
Tell me more.
It's for people 45 plus at average risk for colon cancer, not high risk. False positive and negative results may occur. Ask your prescriber or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you.
I'll do it.
Good plan.
Use a single HR software? Nope. We use 11. 11.
Why do an expense report from your phone when you can do it from a machine that jams?
I just emailed my wife's social security number to the entire company instead of HR, so please come back.
How hard is your business software working for you? With Paycom, employees enter and manage their own HR data in one easy-to-use software. Visit paycom.com for a free demo.
Hi. First off, we love each other.
We do it every night.
Every night. I live alone, but I still do it every night.
Right after dinner.
Definitely after we elope. Like clockwork.
Do it! Run your dishwasher with Cascade Platinum and save water. Did you know an Energy Star certified dishwasher uses less than 4 gallons per cycle, while a running sink uses that every 2 minutes? That means even small loads can save water. So why not do it? Run your dishwasher every night with Cascade Platinum, the surprising way to save water.
For schools to reopen.
We are still talking about the story, rightfully so.
The Baylor University Bears are celebrating today after winning their first men's Division I basketball championship. The Bears jumped out to an early lead against the undefeated Gonzaga Bulldogs and never looked back. The final score was 86-70. It was a team effort, but Baylor guard Jarrett Butler led the way with 22 points and was named the Final Four's most outstanding player. Earlier, he told CBS this morning why he declined to enter the NBA draft last year and gave his college championship dreams one more shot.
The first year we had a pretty good run at it and we had a phenomenal season. It was like, oh, this season is like really good. Like we were like, there's no way we can get better than this. And then coming back, we kind of already had the experience. We already knew what each other can do, and we gelled pretty perfectly. But it just took one extra year or just another opportunity. And the guys, they did a great job. Davion, Maceo, Adam, Mark Vital, Flo Thamba, Jonathan, Matthew Mayer, all those guys, man, they're amazing and really great high-level people and high-level basketball players as well.
All right, for more on the game, let's bring in CBS sports writer Chip Patterson. So Chip, Gonzaga was the favorite last night, but by no means was Baylor a true underdog. How did the Bears get their early lead and maintain it to deny the Bulldogs a perfect season?
Physicality, and I think that shows up in the box score with the offensive rebounds. They got 16 of them, the blocks, the steals. We like to take these national championships in American sports, and we like to compare them to boxing. And this really was a prize fight, and it was strength and size against finesse. And strength and size came out and threw absolute haymakers in those early rounds. And finesse, Gonzaga was a little bit stunned. Now, Gonzaga had done awesome things, and these teams combined, as you mentioned, for the highest winning percentage in an NCAA tournament final history. Only 2 losses, both of them coming from Baylor. But I think that the way that styles make fights in the NCAA tournament, the fact that Gonzaga was thrown off its game early and never had a response, really, really impressive performance from the Baylor Bears right here. And I think it really speaks to what Scott Drew has been able to do, coming to a program that was in the midst of scandal in 2003, working for 18 years to build up to this point and deliver the promise that he made at his introductory press conference that you can win a national championship at Baylor. So this is a great moment for him. And for Mark Few and Gonzaga, heartbreak, having made it to the national championship game twice. Last time in 2017, now in 2021. Totally different rosters, but the same disappointing result each time, falling to a power conference opponent.
So, can we talk a bit about the Baylor program? Head coach Scott Drew took the helm nearly 2 decades ago when the team was at the bottom of its conference. Tell me more about his tenure and how did he finally reach the top of the college basketball world?
Vlad, one of the things I love about this Baylor team is how it's indicative of a new way to win in college basketball. And as a head coach, how you need to be able to not only recruit the high schoolers, but be able to go identify players that are in college basketball. It's a lot of change in college sports with the transfer movement, the transfer portal, players moving around, but that's not bad. In fact, what Scott Drew has shown you is he can take a team where of the top 7 players in this rotation, more than half of them, 4, started their college career somewhere else. And he was able to go and find a player like a Maceo Teague and say, why don't you just come to my program? I think you'll be a better fit. Davion Mitchell, number 45 on the floor, just tremendous ferocity last night. He was coming off the bench at Auburn when he started his college career. And the stories continue around this Baylor roster where he was able to take all of these different personalities who had started their college careers in all these different places. And as Jared Butler mentioned, they were just able to gel. They continued what they had going last season. And it's just been really impressive because I think that while some in college sports fear that more player movement and more transfers might be something that's bad, Vlad, I argue that it's good because it allows these players to be able to find a new home. The decision that you made at 17 years old might not be the right decision for you at 20, and Baylor has shown that a combination of players that are recruited out of high school, like a Jared Butler, who first met Scott Drew when he was a youngin', and players from other programs can all come together, commit to one season, and try to go accomplish the greatest feat in the sport, and that is win a national championship.
Well, Gonzaga came within a win short of a perfect season, but I'm curious about the legacy of this Bulldogs team. How did the team react last night after a loss? And a couple of years ago, they found themselves in a similar position, right?
Yeah, this is wildly disappointing, and the difference in how history will remember Gonzaga, like if we were to put them on a chart, they're on the total opposite ends. I mean, it is win and you are sports immortality, the first undefeated national champion since Indiana in 1976. And instead, you fall in a line of teams since 1976 that have made it all the way to the Final Four, but not won the national championship. That's Larry Bird and Indiana State in 1979. Is one of those stellar UNLV Runnin' Rebels teams from 1991. It is Kentucky in 2015 with John Calipari, and now it is the Gonzaga Bulldogs in 2021. Now, the makeup of this team, I still will argue, is fantastic, and everything they've accomplished was impressive. They have the highest efficiency margin of the modern era, and they ran away with all kinds of records. The computers say that this team is great, but the computers are not always what legislate the way that we talk about sports and the way that we remember sports in our culture. So instead of being, again, sports immortality, undefeated national champion, first since Indiana in 1976, they are instead part of a Sporkle quiz to go on there with Indiana State and UNLV and Kentucky, like the teams that made it to the Final Four, almost got the job done, but just fell a little bit short.
And as you know, college basketball fans have been waiting for this tournament for a while, of course, after last year's was canceled due to COVID-19. Just looking back on the tournament, what moment stood out the most to you?
The fact that we only had one game in this NCAA tournament that had to be postponed or canceled because of COVID issues. It was in the very first round, and it was involving a VCU team that was coming right off its conference tournament run. And since then, the controlled environment, which was not a true bubble, but certainly they had the highest kind of technology available in terms of contact